the elite athlete wants to train on a more regular basis, but at the same time, how do you avoid burnout? We believe that the athlete wanted something different, needed something different by way of their training and whatnot. So we created the Junior Prospects Hockey League, and it's basically a high school hockey model where we've infused academics with athletics. And the JPHL is not here to be the biggest league. That's not what we're here to do. We want to be the best, and we want to be the choice for the players. And there's most of the traditional academy models that exist today are anywhere from $25,000 to $70,000 or more per year, and we're half to a third of that cost.
That's huge. All right. So today we have a special guest. We have Richard No. He's the JPHL commissioner here. And it's really excited to have him on. Richard, how you doing today?
Good, Braden. Thanks for having me as well.
Okay, awesome. So with that said, maybe give the viewers, a quick snapshot of your hockey career, how the JPHL kind of came to be.
I played youth hockey in Edmonton. I was born in Montreal, but grew up in Edmonton, played youth hockey here all the way up to midget AAA. I was one of the rare players, went straight from midget AAA to college, skipped the junior hockey journey, and I was accepted into a university. So I figured it was pretty important that I take that opportunity and acceptance and go while I had the opportunity. It was a great experience. I had the opportunity to play in a couple of Viking Cups against national teams and from Europe, as well as do 2 European tours and get an education at the same time. And after that, I went down south, played some minor pro hockey, got my feet wet in Texas, which was really interesting. Hockey in Texas is a unique experience. After that, I was training to go back down for another season and got offered an opportunity at my alma mater to actually work in the admissions office. So after some, a weekend of deliberating on it, decided that, I had my experience playing minor pro and so chose to kind of hang them up a little bit in some respects and focus on my career that way. And so that was interesting. Did a lot of public speaking for 5 years and ended up playing senior AAA during that time in 2 Allen Cups, and got a chance to go to the Nagano Cup as well in Japan, play against the Olympic team there and the Japanese Olympic team. And so hockey's afforded me a ton of great experiences. And shortly after that, had a young family, and then you go full circle. All of a sudden you have a son in the game and you start coaching and stuff like that. So I ended out, when my son was really young, starting up a spring franchise called Gorillas Hockey. And eventually there was a league that was formed in Alberta called the Hockey Super League, the HSL. So we took our spring team and entered the winter league so that we could keep our kids from spring to winter. And the reason why is we were able to create a team where we, my son and my family got to choose who our teammates were. We got to select. Obviously, I was coaching at the time, but his teammates got to select their coach and their teammates as well. And for me as a hockey coach, it was fantastic because it was an opportunity to take these kids from Hockey 101 to Hockey 102 to 103 and not press the reset button. So that connection was really cool, and our team stuck together for years. And through that networking, and obviously hockey is a small world. The guys that started up the Hockey Super League 8 years later started up the Junior Prospects Hockey League. So at that time, just through the network, maybe being at the right spot at the right time, I was offered the commissioner role for the JPHL just prior to dropping the puck for the inaugural season, and had a career change in my personal life and committed to this wholeheartedly. Hockey's always been a massive part of my life, so it really wasn't a big culture shift in my world. It was just an opportunity to kind of jump in with both feet and try and make a difference and improve the sport in a very humble, small way.
Moving more like towards the JPHL. So when was it created? Like, why was it created? What's the overall mission and the goal with the JPHL?
So the Hockey Super League essentially goes from U7 to U13. And at the time, 2 years ago, it was sort sort of bleeding into that U15 and U16 and U17 age group, but the tip of the spear was getting thinner and thinner. And the realization was that the model needed to change at a certain age. And we believe that age was your traditional bantam age. So that U14 age group is where we believe that the athlete wanted something different, needed something different by way of their training and whatnot. So we created the Junior Prospects Hockey League, and it's basically a high school hockey model where we've infused academics with athletics. And I know, the listeners out there, the viewers are going to say, well, that already exists, or especially in the West here, it already exists. And so, we're not here saying that we've invented something completely new, but there are some fairly, I would say, big differences and things that we've differentiated from the traditional models that do exist. But ultimately, we believe that, the elite athlete wants to train on a more regular basis, but at the same time, how do you avoid burnout? And so by having the athletes infuse academics with their athletics during the day, you actually create an opportunity where an athlete goes home and they can be a kid and they don't have a practice. They don't rip home from school after a grinding day, grab a quick bite to eat and then rip out to a practice and then come home, try and do homework, go to bed. No time to be a kid, no time to have some downtime and then rinse and repeat the next day. In our model, all the hockey and the training happens during the school day with school. So when they come home, they can actually go shoot hoops with friends. They can work on homework. They can have an actual dinner with mom and dad and family at home, so that they can actually, that work-life balance does exist for the hockey player that is still training every single day and getting their reps, but now we're managing the burnout. And so we created a showcase model where we centralize all the locations. We created a model where we take care of all of the athletes' travel, logistics, all their transportation, their hotel accommodations. Every single meal on the road is professionally catered. We sit down with nutritionists a couple times through the season to make sure that we're feeding and hydrating the athletes properly, for their competition. Every game is professionally broadcast with commentary, play-by-play. So we've kind of created, a professional setting. Our goal is to get these athletes to the next level, but honestly, if we do our job right, when they level up, they're going to feel like they're taking a step back when they get to junior hockey in the sense of how we treat them and stuff like that. So all in all, so now you basically go from the HSL at U7 to U13 and at U14 and up to U18, the JPHL model kicks in and we're vertically integrated directly into junior hockey with the BCHL. So we've got 5 of our hubs that are owned and operated by BCHL franchises. So now essentially the model can go from U7 all the way through to junior hockey, which I believe is very rare or the first of its kind. It's very similar to a European soccer model.
So if it's integrated into the BCHL, is it considered unsanctioned or sanctioned? How does that work exactly?
So I consider us modern in the sense that we're a modern hockey model. We in terms of a traditional sanctioning verbiage, we wouldn't be underneath the Hockey Canada umbrella, and much like the BCHL, we would be independent. Right. Yeah, just like most junior leagues and the NCAA and NHL for that matter.
Yep, no, for sure. And a lot more leagues are starting to move towards the unsanctioned model, as we see with the BC and a couple other leagues. Yeah. How did the agreement come with the BCHL? How did the JPHL partner with the BCHL? How did that all kind of come to be?
Well, it was really exciting. I mean, there was a lot of integrated relationships already that existed. For example, when we first dropped the puck in the JPHL, the Okanagan Hockey Club was part of our league, and they're owned by the West Kelowna Warriors. So there was already a working relationship that existed before the BCHL left the Hockey Canada umbrella. So I would say we hit the ground running, and over the course of time and special events, we had a lot of opportunities to meet with their leadership, and there was just a ton of common ground in terms of the direction and our goals to help our athletes within our models just focus on them and be able to make quicker decisions and be able to toggle and make improvements by removing a lot of those layers of bureaucracy and politics that exist, unfortunately, in every sport, not just hockey.
In the next 5 years, where do you see the JPHL going?
Interesting. I think one thing I've learned in this progressive world is not to be too headstrong in terms of having a destination saying that's where we're going to be. sitting here 2 years after we dropped the puck in the JP, Braden, I didn't think we would be exactly where we are, to be honest. I think we've advanced a lot quicker and further along than I would have thought, and I'm not a pessimist at all. So it's not like I was expecting this thing to be slow played or whatnot, but very, very happy with where we were at when we dropped the puck competitively. Very happy with, the relationships that have been built and the evolution of the league and with our, friends in the BCHL and whatnot and what we're able to offer our athletes now. But, I think over the course of the next 5 years, I think you're going to see that vertically integrated pathway really solidified in a lot of these different communities where, for junior hockey franchises, they can scale their human resources and have their teams have their specialists work with a lot of the grassroots levels within their community. And I think that's where you're going to see some fundamental change, and I think a big difference will be made. And I think it'll tie the community to those junior franchises. I think it's going to help the athletes within continue to get elevated and more experienced coaching right at their fingertips and at their disposal. So I'm excited about that. And so I think over the next 5 years, you're going to see growth, but I think you're going to see quality. I think you're going to see responsibility in that respect. The JPHL is not here to be the biggest league. That's not what we're here to do. We want to be the best, and we want to be the choice for the players and the families that see our developmental model as being beneficial to them, getting them to level up.
Let's say you have a family that's on the edge. They've been in the traditional model for a long time now. They're used to the sanctioned route. And what would be your pitch to them to say, like, not to convince them, but to persuade them to say, hey, the JPHL is actually a solid option for them to go to?
I think it's not one thing, Braden. I actually think it's a whole bunch of different layers that will help us. I don't know that will be everything to everybody, right? You're always going to have people that it works for them and others that it doesn't work for. And I think that's great. I think the athlete today has more choice than they had yesterday, and I think that's really important. Obviously, we want to earn, their loyalty and earn their retention, and work really hard. We're very hands-on. We're very boots on the ground. In my role as commissioner, I'm at every showcase I can be at. Sometimes we're in Alberta and BC at the same time. I choose one or the other, and usually go back and forth. But we're very, very hands-on. So we work with the families on site. We're working with the scouts or the owners of the junior franchises that are on site, and working with the different, talking and visiting and building relationships with the athletes and the families that are there. So I believe that's really important. And at the end of the day, for some, it's going to be a big piece is going to be the accessibility. So for some, it's going to be a geographical accessibility where the academy model is offered in their community where it wasn't before. For other families, it's going to be a financial accessibility piece. And I am proud that, there's most of the traditional academy models that exist today are anywhere from $25,000 to $70,000 or more per year. And, we're half to a third of that cost. That's
huge.
It is. And I think if you look at the savings over the course of 4 years, that potentially adds up to a full ride scholarship outside of the athletic performance, just in the savings alone. So I think that accessibility piece, its sustainability, its quality, it's going to lead to a lot of different things, and that's very important to us. It's important to our DNA. We obviously have to monetize to replace the monies that we're investing in the model, but we're not a profit center, right? Like, we're not building, our why is not profitability, our why is accessibility, and I think that's going to offer us a lot of opportunities going forward. So for other athletes, it might be the fact that they find value in things like our relationships with the junior franchises, in the BCHL and otherwise. For others, it's going to be, maybe it's a quality of life as an athlete. Maybe it's being able to play in certain arenas that are state-of-the-art arena facilities that our athletes get to experience. For others, it might be, we're 2 athletes per room, not 4. So I think it's going to be different for everybody, but definitely that accessibility piece is a mainstay.
On that note, I think that's all the questions I had. Any closing thoughts, remarks that you want to say to families out there about the league or hockey altogether?
You know what? I would say we're going to continue to work, Braden. We got a lot of different special events that we're putting together. We'll have our 18U division will be competing alongside the BCHL at their showcase in the fall. We've got our winter championships. We've got an NBA style play into the playoffs. We're just constantly working with a lot of different groups across, Canada and the US for that matter. It's been really interesting to see the moving parts within, our hockey community abroad and everything. In terms of junior hockey leagues that are leaving Hockey Canada. It's the groups that have always operated independently that are growing and continuing to grow in Ontario and Eastern Canada. So I think the interactive piece is very exciting to us. I think it's going to create a great experience, and we built a brand new arena facility in Edmonton called Silent Ice Center. It's a $60 million arena facility, state of the art. We just opened it up at the start of winter. It's the home of the HSL and JPHL. We just are embarking on starting the FSL, the Female Super League.
Nice.
And so we've got 2 divisions we're rolling out for the first year this coming fall, and it's 12U and 14U. And we're basically implementing progressive body checking into the 14U division for the girls. And the reason why is we want to start teaching these girls in a very safe environment, the skilled physicality piece of the game, and help them manage both sides of the puck from a vulnerability perspective. You reverse engineer that. How do we do that? Well, we don't have all these layers of bureaucracy around us,
right?
And we have this massive responsibility to make sure if we think it's good for the athletes, don't just do it for the sake of doing it, but do it for the right reasons. But do it, find ways to improve the sport. And I'm excited for the girls coming into the FSL because we've all watched their game on TV a lot, from the IIHF all the way through to the PWHL. It's a very physical game. And for them not to have that at the foundation and the core of when they're growing up in hockey at a young age, to me is crazy. To us, it's crazy. We might as well teach them when, they're learning at an age where they're similar in size and age and everything else, and let them step in towards that development and that progression. So we aren't for everybody, but hopefully we're continuing to work that we are the choice for the athletes in our regions and communities that we operate in.
Very, very cool stuff. I think you guys have a very nice set of values that you're kind of following, and it sounds like a really exciting, up and coming league and up and coming project altogether. So really cool stuff. Thank you so much for your time, and look forward to chatting again in the future at some point.
Thanks, Braden.
If you like this type of content, click here or here to keep watching. Destroy that like button, hit that subscribe button, and click the link in the description below if you have any questions for us. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll catch you on that next one.